And welcome to the first episode of the Level 30 podcast. I'm Tom, alongside Joe across from me over there, and Kevin next to me. Off to a great start.
We're switching things up before we even start.
That's right. Yeah, no, thank you for checking out our podcast. If you've been following our videos on YouTube, we really appreciate that. This will be up there on YouTube as well, and hopefully on podcast services soon. So I would like to first start by saying hello and welcome to Kevin.
Hello, Tom.
Hey.
Welcome.
Thank you. Yes. And to our Joe, our friend Joe across the table.
Hey.
To our Joe.
To our Joe. If you haven't checked out our stuff on YouTube, please do that. Level 30 Games is the YouTube channel for gamers that have a busy-ass life and still enjoy playing games. So we always try and talk about games from the perspective of someone who doesn't have a lot of time to spare. And hopefully this podcast can fit right in with your schedule as something you listen to on your way to work, at work, while mowing the lawn, wherever you indulge in podcasts.
Just one straight through to the other.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That works.
Mow the lawn at work.
Mowing the lawn.
At work.
At work.
Well, if you're a professional
While playing video games?
lawnmower, well, maybe on your break when you're not mowing. Thank you for that, everyone. So we got a pretty stocked rundown here. And full disclosure, some of the information might be slightly dated. We recorded this a week and a half ago and lost that to some technical issues. We're going to call it inexperience because that's really what it was, if we're being honest here. So thanks for sticking with us. But we appreciate your feedback at the end of this and let us know what you think. So the first thing that we wanted to talk about today has... What are we talking about today? So many things, actually. I wanted to start with one, and this spawned from a rant that Joe gave a while back. When the Switch Lite was announced, because we were both at work watching the introduction video or the trailer for that 4-minute video that said, "Here's a Switch Lite,"
and it had nothing to do with the Switch Lite.
Well, you know, it was 9 a.m. on a
off.
Tuesday, and Nintendo decided to drop this video.
Yeah, it was weird timing.
And I think we both watched this and then walked away with very different. Not expectations. That wouldn't be the right word. I think Kevin and I, we were texting a little bit, and we were both saying, like, I want to own this.
We want it now. Wait.
And then we thought about it for a second.
Do we, though?
But Joe got angry.
I mean, I had the same idea.
Joe, tell us a little bit about your anger there.
I mean, I had a lot to say about it, but I mean, I feel like that feeling's like really waned off now that time has gone by, despite the fact that I still feel the same about it.
All right, well, tell us your initial feelings.
So it was, to me, I couldn't find the right place for it. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to make a Switch Lite that doesn't dock, or a Switch in general that does not dock. So that was my first problem with it, the fact that you cannot dock it, but it's still called the Switch.
Right. So for those that aren't in the know or haven't checked anything in the news or read about this, Switch Lite is essentially a portable Switch. Joy-Cons do not remove. There's a couple other features that are missing, like Rumble and the NFC. And yes, the system itself does not come with, nor does it work in an existing dock.
Yeah, you can't put it in the dock at all. It won't fit. The pins won't line up. It's not going to go in there. It possibly lacks the ability to output through the dock. Like, even if you were to like hack your dock so you can plug it in, it might actually not even be able to output if you even tried. Which
is a weird omission, right? From like a technical standpoint, it's not like this should have been something that from a cost-saving standpoint you would think makes a lot of sense to remove.
I mean, it could be like a cheaper chip to develop if it doesn't have that output, but realistically, it's kind of built into the Type-C standard.
Right.
So I don't see why it wouldn't do that. But I mean, as you mentioned as well, the Joy-Cons don't come off. There's no rumble. I don't think the rumble is like a huge deal to lose on a portable console, because I think a lot of these people are going to be trying to replace it. The DS. It's going to be a replacement for the DS.
Which would actually be kind of weird if it rumbled. Now that I think about it.
It could have a light rumble, like a very slight one. I mean, the HD rumble, if they were going to include it, the HD rumble is a great, feature to add to it. But
the rumble?
It says no HD rumble, but I don't know if that definitely means no rumble at all.
Okay.
More than likely no rumble. I mean,
I would think so.
I can understand not putting that in there.
Over the weekend, I saw like the pre-orders on all the retailers, and the tagline was the system you could take on the go, and I was like, wait a second.
But that was already the Switch.
Which
that was
is
the whole
the
I thought
Switch.
it was weird.
So it kind of raises the question then, what's the purpose of this device?
I couldn't even tell you. I mean, my biggest gripe that I don't want to be able to gloss over is the fact I have my Switch here, and there's no kickstand on it, right? So while
On
the
the Lite.
Joy-Cons, on the
Got
Lite,
it.
there's no kickstand on the Lite. So they say you can still pair a Pro controller with it. So okay, great, but it has no kickstand, so it has to lay down like this. How am I gonna play like this if I pair my Pro controller or another set of Joy-Cons? This
You-
is so uncomfortable. I mean, I'm sure certain games would work, but I mean, I have Mario open right now, and I mean, no, this is a terrible, terrible angle. Who wants to do this?
Yes, especially if you're outdoors, because direct sunlight on that screen is
Yeah, this screen is
pretty awful.
not that bright to cut through sunlight. So realistically, I couldn't tell you what the point is, other than the fact that hey, it's pretty, it's a good novelty. My first thought was that my girlfriend and I could have our own screens now when we play. She can get a cheaper version of it, and when we play Mario Kart or something, she can sit on the couch and have her own screen. I can have the TV because I bought the TV, so it's my TV. And, we could play that way, which is cool. But now if I go out and she wants to play Pokemon, she can't dock her Switch and play it on the TV.
Right.
She's forced to either transfer it back to mine or just continue to play on the little screen, which is, I mean, really a missed opportunity to be able to have, satellite switches, as it were, and use them and put them in other places. But I guess they wanted to really make a differentiation between the two, because if it does the same thing and it's cheaper, well, then what's the point? So I understand it.
Yeah, and I
Because
think
Why buy a cheaper one and then add all the features to it afterwards?
right, and I think you hit the nail on the head a little bit there. Is missed opportunity. I can see this being big in households with lots of family.
And that's, I think, what they're trying to push.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think they said that on Twitter or
But
something.
again, I think it would be great if it's like, oh, hey, check out where I am in this level. Pop yours out of the dock, pop mine in the dock, boom, and then all share that as one central hub. I think that's silly. So it really does go, well, then wait, why wouldn't you just buy everyone in the house the additional Switch? And if you break down what comes in the box, okay, the Joy-Con are built into the system. So if you look at that as an $80 purchase and the dock itself is a $90 purchase,
Yeah, dock kit.
okay, so the Switch Lite at $199, you save $100, but does it have the value that a regular Switch would have? I'm trying to find the value proposition there, and I'm not entirely sure what it is.
Don't forget though, in Japan too, a lot of people don't even sit in front of a TV and play. And that's not just
That's a good
Japan.
point. And I get, all right,
So-
so we're being a little ethnocentric here. Well, I'm being a little
It's
ethnocentric
just
here.
it's you have two options now, so far with these models. That's my look at it and which one do you want? Which features do you want?
But you didn't need two options from a console that is built to give you two options.
True.
Right. And that's why I was like, oh, this is so cool. And I think that's why we both tapered at the end and said,
That D-pad.
but we don't really need this.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the colors are gorgeous, and I'm still looking at it and going, well, it would kind of make sense, and it is neat. She can still play Pokemon, and I don't have to buy a whole new Switch, and I can get her user account off my Switch, which would be great. But
it's true. I don't like having to log in every time.
right, it's,
Well, I
it's
don't,
really
but
nice.
yeah.
But realistically, the value proposition, so to speak, is mom just walked into GameStop, son wants a Switch. I can't afford the $300 version. GameStop employee says, well, the $200 version plays 98% of the games that the $300 version does. You're only losing a couple games that require the TV and the HD Rumble.
Yeah.
Play 98% of them, and mom goes, "It's $100 savings. It's a good deal."
Yeah.
Bam, she walks out with it.
Yeah, that's a
That
good point.
game
And
or
it,
extra game.
yeah, and I think there's two interesting things that you bring up. Oh, it plays 98% of the games. I think it's. I understand there's the PS Pro and then there's the Xbox One X, but they all play every game. Sometimes they look a little bit better, but now you're kind of fragmenting your audience with certain software, and that's not really commonplace for consoles.
It's
Or home
not,
consoles,
and
like
it's
on
a
the
bad
PC,
idea.
like at home, you understand, hey, this won't work on my computer because my computer's outdated, or the graphic, a lot of specs there that
Yeah.
over time you kind of just knowingly understand they're not going to be up to par.
Mhm.
But you kind of buy a console with the impression that any game that comes out in it, you'll be able to play.
Yeah,
And
And
absolutely.
so, the first one that comes to mind is Mario Party.
Oh yeah, that's the big one I think.
Right,
because-
but because you have to play it with a single Joy-Con.
Yeah.
Which do pair to the Switch Lite,
But it's a little bit of a
But how?
But again, you still
Yeah.
you have a ton of people just leaning over a console on a
Right,
table.
which
I
is
mean,
really kind of weird. And I think the second thing you brought up, as far as the shopping angle of it, is that we're approaching arguably the end of the PlayStation and Xbox console generation.
Yeah.
Right. Sony skipped E3 altogether and said, we got nothing to show for PlayStation, so we're going to wait.
Yeah, and
Which is
Microsoft even said
pretty
that they've got
telling.
more coming.
Yeah, pretty telling about the PlayStation 5. And the Xbox was even like, hey, our next thing is codename Scarlet, and here's some specs.
Yep.
yeah.
So I'd have to fathom that come holiday time, those two consoles, Black Friday, are going to be down to $200. And I think Nintendo has now put themselves in a position to say, okay, yes, we're going against 6-year-old hardware, but it's the same price.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not now, well, I can get my son a Switch for $300 or I can get him a PlayStation 4 for $200. And it boggles my mind the number of people that somehow at the end of a console generation are still snatching up consoles. Like they, so I think this is going to put them in a really good position come holiday time to be relevant from a marketing and dollar sign standpoint. Because I think this thing is going to sell huge.
No, I think it's gonna sell like crazy to Light.
Right. And I don't know if I don't think like us, if we're the hardcore Nintendo demographic, might not be for us. But for the general public or for kids, I think this is going to be great. And I think you said it best last time, Kevin, that this is essentially going to end up phasing out, you think, the 3DS and 2DS line?
Yeah, it's a replacement. I like that.
Yeah.
Nintendo says officially, like, oh, we're not done with the 3DS line, but like they said that with the Game Boy.
That's
when they
what I was
announced
going to
the
bring up.
DS. It's
They
like,
said that
yeah,
too.
they're not dropping support, but it's just.
And then they did. That was
You're
it.
right.
Yeah.
Why would you
That was
have
it.
two different handheld systems
Yep.
going two different ways?
But it always reminds me of this is our third pillar.
Yep.
This is the third
Third
pillar
pillar.
strategy.
Mhm.
We want that, and then one pillar
Second pillar crumbled.
inevitably goes by the wayside. So is this all something we think that we're going to end up passing on? Like I know for me, unless they release some like baller Zelda collector's edition, I'm going to pass.
I'm not getting it because I'll wait to tell you what I'm getting when we get there.
Oh, okay. Joseph, you're the only person that this might be relevant for in your household. Yay or nay on the purchase?
As it stands right now, no. I'm not going to buy it as it is. If it goes down to a cheap price, if that hits 125, 150,
Oof.
No, that is not.
No, I know that's low, but I mean,
Yeah.
there's Black Friday deals, or don't get me wrong, like a
like a
GameStop
retailer
gift
has
card.
a-
Yeah,
yeah.
like GameStop did the gift cards for it, sort of Target and Amazon. If it does something that and gives me more value to buy another game, then yeah, absolutely, because girlfriend can have a
Okay.
Switch and Pokemon. So it makes sense, but I'm not really I'm not looking for reasons to buy it. It makes sense if that works, then that works. If it doesn't, she can continue to play my Switch because the whole point, more than one person can have an account on it and play it. I just hope they fix it up and make it easier. Can I have a default log on and just automatically start my games and she has to switch by herself?
Sure.
I shouldn't have to select my user account every time. That's a different story.
All right. Well, pre-orders did go live at most retailers within like the last few days. So I don't know if they're selling out. I haven't seen anything about that.
I think the Pokemon one was the most limited.
Pokemon 1 was gone and came back, I think, on Walmart
Okay.
like a day or two later. And I do know that yellow so far is the least popular. That's the only
like
information
yellow.
I've gotten out of that. But I do like that yellow. Just want to
Yeah.
It looks. It's.
throw a Pokemon sticker on that real bad.
Pokemon 1 has 2 5-star ratings on Target already. Just want to
How the
put that
heck
out
does
there.
that-
Well, they're
Because
amazing,
people just-
apparently.
Yeah.
So
The greatest system never released.
that's right. Talking about what's going on in the news just a little bit. Something interesting happened the other day. At least I think it's interesting because I think I'm just kind of curious to hear your thoughts. So Nintendo, now this is Nintendo of Europe. This isn't anything that's come to the States yet, so we can talk about whether or not that's something that we foresee happening. So it's Europe for now. What they're doing for their online subscribers. So if you have the Nintendo Switch online service, they're releasing Mario Tennis as an extended demo. So it actually kicks off on August 7th, and it's going to run through the 20th. So here's why I think this is interesting. Because in the fine print, it did say that if you decide to purchase it afterwards, your progress
Carries
will
over.
carry over.
Yeah.
And they're offering 33% off.
Digital only.
Digital only.
Right, yeah.
Digital only. Yeah, it's on the eShop.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pro and potential con to this system.
Ooh, con.
Um,
Oh yeah, I see where you're going with this.
where am I going?
Cannibalizing retail sales potentially. That's the only con I could think of. Like,
Well-
people would be like, "Oh, I could wait and hope that they do this with a game I want, and not buy it."
I guess
right away."
potentially. My thought
I
was
would not be
that
one of them.
oh, Mario Tennis, I can probably beat that in a couple hours. So I can play through like the campaign and say, I did it. Now, I don't know if they actually limit like parts of the game. Like, can you only play maybe multiplayer? Can you only get to a certain area in the
There were
campaign mode?
DS games that, like the Smash Brothers for 3DS demo, had a play count limit.
Okay.
I wonder if they're doing something like that. But I feel like
Interesting. So I guess we'll find out on the 7th. I think it could be a really cool incentive.
Yeah.
But what I think is even more interesting is that they're offering it for Nintendo Switch Online customers only. Now, Mario Tennis is a strong online game
Yeah, for multiplayer.
for multiplayer. But I'm wondering then if they're doing this as one of those special incentives for the Nintendo Switch people. Because that was one of their
Oh yeah, like special
special
bonuses
deals
or something.
Yeah, that they touted
There was
when they
the
announced
voucher
this.
thing recently, but I think they're stopping that.
I heard that stopped.
Yeah, recently,
Yeah.
which I didn't really look into it, but it was like, what, do you like buy some games and you got credits to use on another game or something?
So
Voucher?
essentially, just to sidetrack, you would buy 2 vouchers for $100,
Oh, okay.
and they could be used on games
Certain.
digitally up to $59.99. So essentially, if you bought 2 $60 games, you can pay $100, and you
Oh,
end up
okay.
saving $20.
All right.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Different things. Different
Yeah.
things. Didn't another game got announced that's getting a demo? Dragon Quest
Yes.
11S, right? Is that the full title?
Yes.
Okay.
Dragon Quest 11S, the S for
Something of
Super
an elusive
or
age.
Switch.
Right off the tongue.
It's a long title. I don't know it. I'm sorry, Dragon Quest fans.
I'm interested in this game. I'm interested in this game a lot.
But that demo too is if you have the demo, your progress will carry over. I think they said also
Yes.
that one.
But progress carrying over that, and I don't know. I mean, Nintendo's been weird with demos, right? Like, not every game gets a demo, and they're very selective. And I don't know if Nintendo selects it for third-party games, or third-party games decide to have a demo on
They
Switch.
probably have to work it out together.
I would fathom.
would
So I'm kind of curious to see how this goes over in Europe, to see what the benefit in the long
Why is that
term.
Europe only.
Well, Nintendo of Europe's been doing a lot of cool stuff lately
Yeah.
that we don't seem to get, like
those
collector's editions
Printed
of
Splatoon
games.
posters.
Right, you need to cool your jets on those.
Just jealous our Nintendo Awards doesn't print posters anymore.
I know, I've got a whole closet full of
That-
them,
I hate that.
and they're wonderful.
I have the old ones. The Smash Brothers, yeah, you know. I don't want to get sidetracked. Sorry.
It would still be
You've
cheaper
already
to just find a high-res image and print it yourself.
Yeah.
Even if you get lines in your poster.
No, that can't happen.
And these things happen. So this program, do you see this as an advantage for something in like Nintendo of America to do? And if so, what games do you think would be an interesting way to pitch this?
All of them.
Oh, I don't know.
Every game should have a demo. I'm just going to put that out there.
Really?
No, I disagree with that. Like games that they know may not sell as well, I could see a demo. Like I wonder if Metroid Prime 4 will have a demo, because Metroid. I'm a diehard Metroid fan, but that game series has not sold as well compared to like Zelda, Mario. Like they always talk about that. Nintendo doesn't, but like. people do.
Right. Yeah.
So I wonder if they'll have a demo for that to try to push sales. But like, I'm trying to think of what games are out now that you would want a demo for. Like Mario Tennis, I just don't care about personally. Like I don't play it, so even a demo, like I won't download it to try it.
Okay.
So what should have a demo, Joe?
I would think
Well, now you got me on the spot thinking of games.
you should be on the
Because
spot.
I can't think of any.
Honestly, so from the perspective of a level 30 gamer, someone who doesn't have a lot of time to play games, you want to make sure that you're maximizing the time and the money that you're spending on these games. So I would want everything to have a demo. I'm sure there are some games that might not work with that idea, but realistically, I want to try everything I can to make sure, hey, I enjoy this. I want to make sure that, if I'm putting $60 into this, or even, $25 or $30, that's a lot of money for me to put down. And it means if I buy this game,
You want to make sure
I
it's
might
worth
not
it.
be able to buy something else.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that I'm spending money on a game that I'm going to enjoy. So even if I can put 15 to 20 minutes into a demo, just to know that I like the idea and like the mechanics, like we played Overcooked that one time.
Yes.
I enjoyed it,
Right.
but if I played the demo, I might not have bought it because it's very hectic. So I don't know if it's something that I'm gonna want to often play with other people, and I still haven't bought it because again, back to my girlfriend, I want to make sure that she's gonna enjoy it and it's not too hectic for her. But I
that
don't
game
wanna-
is anxiety out the wazoo.
Oh yeah,
That's why I
absolutely.
didn't buy it.
I mean, it's fun as hell, but
it
it's
was-
anxiety out
It
the
was a ton
wazoo.
of fun, but I don't know if she's gonna want to play it, even though she thinks it's fun. I'm not just gonna put the money down on it just to never ever play the game with
Yeah.
her again. So I would like a demo, but for some reason they're like adamantly against demos for Overcooked. There might be one on PC.
Yeah, maybe.
So, but it would just be so easy and so convenient to just download a demo. And I mean, I've downloaded a ton off the Play Store, off the Switch
The-
Store. I've downloaded a lot of demos off there and played a couple things, mostly indie titles. But it gives me an idea of if I'm going to enjoy this game and how just overall how the
How to
game
play,
feels.
yeah.
It doesn't necessarily need to be 2 hours of the game to make sure I enjoy the story. I want to make sure that I enjoy the gameplay and the mechanics, and that when I shut that game off, I go, I want to go back into that demo. That means it's worth the money for me.
Which is interesting because up until recently with Fire Emblem, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, I haven't had that itch, that thought of, oh man, I'm away from this game and all I want to do is go back to play it. And that's been happening with Fire Emblem. So to put you guys both on the spot now, and I'm trying to rack my brain as I thought of this question, has there been like a game that you kind of just went in and said, oh, I'm just going to buy it, and then immediately regretted it and knew there was nothing you can do about having to like return it or take it back?
I have one.
Go for it.
It was an eShop title. I think it's called Manticore. It's a space shooter game, like flying around.
Okay.
Like, you know how I'm obsessed with Everspace now?
Yeah.
Manticore was out like before on the Switch. I was like, oh, maybe this is a good game. I did not like that game. I don't know what it was, but I did not like that. And I was like, I played it for like an hour or two, and I was like, yeah, I don't like this. And it was like $10 to $20, I think.
Okay.
So can't return it,
Right.
can't refund it. So I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
So if I had a demo, then I would have saved
See,
some money.
demos are good.
Yeah.
I know what your regretted game is going to be.
Oh, I don't even know what my regretted game is going to be, but
I'll tell you afterwards. But
Oh, okay.
I mean, so on the Switch, I haven't had any regrets so far. I mean, Crash, I played, and I'm disappointed with the amount of time that I put into. But I enjoy the Crash Bandicoot series on a whole.
didn't you want to throw your Switch across the room playing that game?
Many times. Doesn't mean I didn't have fun, but the
it's
controls are horrendous, on
horrendous.
the first one. The second one gets a lot better, but on the first one, terrible. But the only game recently that I can think of that I like spent money on that I regret was Spelunky.
Okay, I
And-
pictured the character. I've never played the game.
It seemed like so much fun, and my problem with Spelunky is that it ticks all of those like generic boxes. It's procedurally generated.
Okay.
So every time you play, it's a different stage, which to me comes off as really lazy. Like creating the procedural generation like engine is probably simple, but that's something you could do in like RPG Maker back in like 2005.
I'm not gonna ever claim that development of any game is easy. So
But it's relatively lazy, not on a
well,
whole.
it doesn't take the meticulous planning that say like a Mario level would have,
Yeah,
right?
this one just makes itself. My problem with Spelunky was that you could get like 4 levels into the first world and die, and then go back to the first level and not realize that you're still on that first level. So I would play like 27 levels and realize I'm still in the first one because I just kept dying on level 2, and it was a different level when I got back to the first one. So I didn't realize that, so I never really got that far in the game, and that was my only real regret, and I kind of wish I could have returned it. That said, I think your regret is Crash Team Racing.
Yes.
I thought you liked that.
So here's the thing. I
Not after the
did.
party we had.
I liked it. I did like it initially, and okay, so this is gonna be bad. And I'm like, should I put a disclaimer on my review saying that I got rid of this game because I did get rid of the game?
Update your review.
Update the review. Changed mine. Did not like. No. So
Voice over the whole thing.
the drifting mechanic, I was just not a fan of at all.
No, it's really bad, especially if you're used to Mario Kart. It might be easier to jump into if you haven't played Mario Kart or you're not big on it, because you're not expecting it to work like Mario Kart at that point.
Well, I can understand changing the way that you have to do it, but I think it fundamentally changes how you go about a race. It wasn't actually like you don't like. It's kind of like, all right, screw the track, just kind of zigzag your drift back and forth the whole time. So I can understand there being some pleasure found in like finding the way to do that while still like using the track to its advantage. But I and the difficulty was freaking
weird.
nuts. It was a little
it
weird,
was.
and I think
I didn't play it at all, so I have no idea.
I traded it in and I put it towards something else. So
I mean, in
It's
Mario
fine.
Kart,
Link's
we like
Awakening.
even like all of us, we consistently get in the top, 4 of the top, however many of us there are in Mario Kart. Every single time, one of us is in first, second, third, and fourth because we understand the game, we know how the mechanics work, and we're good at the game. But we played Crash Team Racing, and the computer took the first 4 spots every single time.
Yeah, we
could
bottom
not break.
4.
Yeah, every single time we could not beat them. They were just incredible.
Yeah, it was
the
bad.
They
difficulty
were
curve's
incredible.
insane.
The AI
they
was
were
incredible.
It,
Yeah,
they
the
were.
difficulty's nuts.
You
All
play
right, so
Crash
that
Team Racing.
might be
You play Crash
I
Team
don't want
Racing.
to.
that might be one of
Exactly.
my regrets. I also
At Mario Kart.
I picked up Final Fantasy X.
They were enjoying that.
I'm enjoying it, but I also feel like now with Fire Emblem out, and I'm not going to get back to it.
Yeah,
I know it's not going to happen.
Yeah, you.
So it was
comparing
more of a
PlayStation 2 game though, which is in a totally different series. Final Fantasy's got.
I think I
feel.
bought it at the wrong time. I needed a lull of games to come out, and so it was like, oh, Mario Maker, and then I'll just buy Fire Emblem, and then or not Fire Emblem, Final Fantasy, and then I'm like, so I haven't even touched Mario Maker that often since we played it last on our live stream.
Stage yet. I've just been playing other people's.
I'm still working on one. I want to destroy you.
Because I had yeah.
Which you haven't touched in like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
or something.
you have Fire Emblem now.
Yeah.
That's true. I got Fire Emblem.
See, this is why you need
awesome,
the
by
other
way.
Switch, so you can go back and forth between Switches and never have to trade games.
Oh, there you go. It's actually a
Wait,
novel
what?
idea.
It's a terrible. So he would never have to take like the cartridge out of the game or like end his game. He goes, "Oh, I'm playing Fire Emblem. I want to create that level that's gonna kill Kevin. Let me just pick up the Switch."
What do you mean having 2 Switches?
Yeah, that's the point of the life.
One
can't-
solely dedicated to creating
Just destroy
Mario
Oh,
Maker
like
stages.
just have Mario Maker on one of them?
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
alright.
There have been times where like I want to switch games out, but I'm at a spot where I'm like, I can't save right now. So what do I do? Do I just give up my progress, or do we trudge through and then save and then quit?
Yeah.
Talk about giving up on progress. I did not do that last night. 5 hours on Smash
Can you?
Brothers.
Can you
we need
thank
some-
you.
I want to sneak that in
is a-
somewhere.
this
Can
is
I
a-
talk about
needed
this real
you.
quick?
This is a family-friendly channel, so if you can
I'm
just
talking about Smash Brothers.
okay. Well, and that what
The
a
game.
I mean, that
what a
doesn't make it any better.
beautiful segue, Kevin. Thank you. So the version 4.0 update is out, and the latest DLC character
The
is
hero.
out.
All
And
4 of
so,
them.
yeah, I was really hoping that you could shed some light onto what this update includes, as well as a little bit, if you've gotten a chance to play as the hero, what that's been like.
Oh yes, he's cool. So the update, I'm just gonna focus mostly on the hero. There's like some fine tuning. Final Smash meter has a time limit now. You have 20 seconds to use it, or it's gone, which is cool. A lot of
Nice.
people like that.
Okay,
change.
yeah.
Because some people would just camp with it and then be like, oh, here's my chance to
Right.
KO the opponent. The hero is like a lot of people have thoughts on him. He's very interesting to use. A lot of his moves you have to charge, and they have like different levels of charge to use.
Yeah,
And then
they were describing it, and I'm like, this sounds really complicated.
It sounds weird. It's not. It's super easy to use.
Okay.
Because I've been playing with him a bunch since when was the update? Last week.
Sometime between the last podcast and this podcast.
That's right.
But his magic, like that spell list that comes down,
yeah.
is cool because it's random every time you pull it down. But like that's where I have trouble because I'm not fast enough to like just pull it down, read, and then do something.
Oh, if you're not fast enough, I'm definitely
I've
not.
seen other people do like when I was playing on that tournament, the online tourney mode last night for 5 hours because I wanted to win. I won finally at 5 a.m.
Because you're insane.
I'm
is what the
insane.
problem
Wow, yeah,
is.
I'm insane. I was like, I'm winning before I go to bed, and I just kept playing.
That's what happens when you have 2
But
months
some
off from
people were
work.
really good with him already, and I was like, wow. They've probably just been playing with him constantly.
So I've been reading a lot that he's a little OP.
That's what some people say.
Of course
Because
he is.
one of the attacks in the menu that come down. So in the menu that comes, is it down B?
Yeah, down B.
So down B, it pops up true to Dragon Quest, like a little menu where you would select your attack, and there's 18 of them, but they're randomized based on like just whenever you hit
Yeah.
it. So it changes every time. But one of those moves is pretty much an insta kill.
Is it the magic burst?
I don't
Remember
remember.
he does like a big. and there's like a
No, I don't even think it's that
a
one.
spirit
At least I don't think.
It's
No,
pretty much
it's not Dragon Ball.
kind of like that. That's cool.
But one of those is like an insta kill, and I've heard it's been killing people as low as like 30%.
There was something that got me low yesterday. I don't remember which one it was though, but I was like, what the heck? So I mean, they may adjust him. They may not. He's cool though. He's a cool character.
Well,
Well-
it can happen in 5 hours. So
Yeah,
That's
well,
true. But also Sakurai's pretty well known for keeping an eye on those balance patches and stuff, just to
what's wrong with
see
my
how
microphone?
like and
Yeah, no, they do that all the time.
they do that frequently, and the trending of which characters are popular for certain things or online, they keep an eye on as well, because there's always shifts towards, you know, some characters when that game comes out never get used online, and then towards the end
Yeah.
they trend back
Well, they
that
saw that
way.
with Pichu, I think, too. Like Pichu was OP for a while, and then they balanced him, and now people really kind of like gave him up.
just really funny to think about.
I know.
This thing is
Pichu-
like
Pokemon.
7 pixels tall and just murdering
It
people.
damages itself.
Well, I
Just Ike,
saw
who
at
cares?
Best Buy there were like 900 Pichu amiibos, so clearly he's
yeah.
not a fan favorite.
Or he is, and
Um,
they just restocked because they keep going out.
Maybe that's it. There you go. Joe, have you gotten a chance to play as the hero yet?
I have not. I
Scared.
it's true.
I'm a little scared.
Don't be
I'm-
scared. You gotta play.
Honestly,
Gotta try.
I you know what? I don't play Super Smash as much as I should, and I don't know what my problem is
No.
because I put a ton of hours
No time.
into all of the. It's true. I am a level 30 gamer,
Yes.
but no, I really haven't put. I haven't had a chance to play him at all. I don't even know if I've
you
downloaded
update the game?
No, I haven't.
I haven't either.
I
But
was
it's
waiting for this moment so you could explain to me what happened
Okay.
in the update.
kind of a little bit. Yeah. What else is in version 4?
I'm trying to think what else. They added some of the things you could do in the like little video editing stuff in the game, which I do
Yeah.
not use. I just don't care about that. No home run contest yet, which I'm waiting for.
Oh well, then why am I even gonna update?
Hero.
That was the first thing I looked
Honestly,
for
the
when
only
I
two
popped that
things
game
in
in.
this update that stood out to me were the Hero DLC, his stage, which is cool. It's a traveling stage.
Yeah, I saw the video.
Um,
That looked neat.
Oh, does the
the-
stage kill you too?
Not
Like
if you
all
know
of
how to
the other
play.
stages?
No, there's no,
Ooh,
there's no,
ooh,
there's no
ooh.
hazards in this stage. Is that what
Ouch.
you mean? Hazards?
Not if I know how to play.
There's no hazards in this stage. Well, I
Okay.
was wondering where you were going with that. I was like, what do you mean? Like, there's some platforms
there-
that move in, but there's no hazards.
Okay, well, there's some stages that
you
are
can
just
fall
like, oh,
off.
you know what?
Wait, well, hold
Screw
on.
you.
There's some of the chests that pop up in the stage.
Uh-huh.
One of them, I think it's called a mimic.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, it's like a fake
some of
chest.
them, yeah, and
Yeah.
it'll attack you.
Okay,
So,
I can deal with like one
potentially.
or two. I'm just annoyed by some of the stages. They're just like, yeah,
trying to
do
think
you
of
want to play? No, screw you. They just throw you off.
The Yellow Devil comes in the Mega Man stage.
Get
Oh my
good.
God.
There's the biggest things in the update were Hero and then the final Smash meter. The other things were small.
And the
I think.
online tournaments.
Oh yeah, the online like I played all night. Yeah, that.
So how does that work?
So it's Nintendo
No
has pre-made tournaments. Like they're on a schedule, kind of like how
Okay.
Salmon runs. So like the one now is from August 4th to August 6th. It's 1v1, no items, Omega form. So when you go to online and then online tourney, it tells you what it is, and you just hit it and you play for
Okay.
5 hours until you win.
How many people are in the tournament?
It changes.
Okay.
That also
I saw some really big brackets.
yeah, there was one where there were 64.
Yeah.
There were some that were 32. There were some that there were 8.
I want 128 or I'm not playing.
Yeah, that's insane.
No, I remember doing
Just 3 hours before
was
I
it
get to actually
Melee
play.
that allowed you to do custom tournaments at home?
Yeah.
It had to have been the GameCube one.
Melee did?
Yeah.
I think Brawl did. I don't remember.
Maybe they both did. I just remember
I think Brawl did.
on Melee doing like the 64 character tournaments.
Just
and
all
but we
CP
would
and let 'em
all
go.
pick. No, there'd be like 8 of us, so
Oh,
we would
okay.
all pick
Oh, so
like
you play
4
multiple
characters. Because you can create like the 4 character names that were always offensive. I'm not going to use any examples here.
Nope. Family show.
Some
Right.
of them are really
Um,
bad.
And so then it would just be like, all right, cool. We're gonna set this up, and it's kind of randomized. So like, oh, I'm not playing this round. Okay, cool. Like we can go do something else, or like
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
go play a board game, or like, whatever. And then oh yeah, you're out. Come on. And then you would get called in. It was kind of cool.
Oh, it's like bowling.
Maybe for you, I take bowling very seriously, Joe. No, I'm just kidding.
You
I
try and
don't.
call somebody over and they're like playing Galaga in the arcade. I'm like, okay, my Galaga high
That is
score is
true.
more important than my frame, and then somebody just bowls for you. 'cause
I
you took too
did
long.
enjoy playing Killer Instinct in the bowling alley arcade.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on. We'll touch upon this quickly, more of just kind of like an update if you didn't hear, since it's a little old news right now, but it hasn't been official news, and that's the Joy-Con drifting. That Nintendo is no longer charging customers for the Joy-Con repairs.
Nintendo of
I think it's
America.
Nintendo
Nintendo of America, sorry, Nintendo of America, and
Last we checked.
if you got your Joy-Cons repaired recently, they're going to refund you the money that you'd spent to repair those. So this may have been spurred by the class action lawsuit from a gentleman in California, but we're not really sure because Nintendo didn't really like publicly come out and say, "Oh, hey, we're going to fix these." It was kind of like an internal memo that leaked out.
Yeah.
And then some people called and they verified, like, yeah, they just said, "Yep, send them in, no charge."
Right. So I've seen cases where they're just straight out replacing them for some people. So if you've had some issues with your Joy-Cons, get those taken care of. My question is, I haven't, but is it worth sending them in anyway in case there is something that will inevitably happen?
I don't know if they would. Oh, I don't know.
You know?
Yeah.
So maybe it's worth a phone call. We'll see.
It's hard to verify the drift, so they'll probably
They may just. Yeah.
if they're replacing them, they'll just replace them for you. If they're doing a fix, they'll probably just do the fix for you as well. But depends on what the fix is. You know, if the fix is new joysticks, you might take one without drifting issues, and they might put in joysticks with drifting issues if they haven't fixed their joysticks. So you could be potentially making it worse by fixing something that doesn't, necessarily have that problem.
Well, I do want to make it worse. That is one of my goals here. No, I'm kidding. So get that taken care of. That's right. So yeah, I just wanted to touch upon that. If you have any issues there, get those done. Sorry, I'm just also taking notes on my phone so I know when to set the time markers. Joe still didn't update this section, but I figured I would just ask you guys casually what we're in the midst of playing now. What are we enjoying? So we'll start with Kevin since Joe didn't put anything again.
Well, what am I playing?
Now that we know that Kevin played Smash Brothers till 5 a.m. last night.
No regrets. Do it while I can. So what am I playing? Everspace a lot.
Tell us about that. What's Everspace like?
It is a space shooter. It's like you fly around.
Like a 2D shooter,
like a 3D
shmup?
space shooter. Trying to think now. I did not articulate this earlier. There's like missions. There's like light story elements that carry. It's a roguelite.
Okay.
Roguelite where you play until you die and then you start over. And it's
Do you get any progress upgrades that carry over or no?
There's perks. It's called perks in the game. Like you upgrade your ships.
Okay.
You have to spend all your money on stuff. It's definitely good for level 30 players because like you could play in short bursts.
Okay.
Like say, I want to play for 30 minutes and then I'll just kill myself if I don't have time.
Wow, I would kill for a 30-minute burst of time sometimes.
Yeah, I know. So it's really cool. Like I played Descent. I don't know if either of you know
like the old PC game?
Descent.
Yes.
Yeah.
I played it on PS1.
I played it on PC.
They may have ported it.
But Descent.
I was waiting for the sequel for that so hard, and now
on
it's
the
dead.
N64.
It's got a throwback there,
right?
Like those
Forsaken,
kind
remember
of
that too.
games I loved, and like this game reminds me so much of it. Colony Wars on the original PlayStation.
Descent was not a roguelike.
No, I know. It wasn't,
Okay,
but,
like I sunk a lot of hours in that game. I know it wasn't.
Style of gameplay.
Okay,
though,
I got you.
The flying around and like 3D space, like it's cool. So I like that game a lot, Everspace. And the developer tweeted out a couple days ago, Gamescom is happening later this month, and they're announcing their next game.
Oh, okay,
So
cool.
I'm excited.
And that's available on the eShop?
Yeah, Everspace is on the eShop, and it was on sale when I bought it. I don't know if it still is.
Do you know the price off the top of your head?
I think it was $20.
Okay. On the
Yeah.
sale price?
Not sure.
Oh, okay.
I think I spent 20. It was worth it. It was good. Like
All right,
I would
so
pay,
maybe worth $20
Yeah.
if it's more than that.
no demo though. I don't think there's no demo.
Of course not. Why would there be
Well,
a
then
demo?
I'm not
Sorry,
gonna buy it.
Joe, what are you playing?
Do we really want to go into what I'm playing again?
Sure, because it's
Uh,
probably...
Well, on my Switch, I haven't been playing much because I'm holding out because I'm just flipping between games right now. I'm holding out for Zelda.
Oh, okay.
So I'm waiting a little bit before I buy anything else for that. So I'm revisiting the Phantom Pain still, Metal Gear.
Okay.
And last time we talked about just all the micromanaging and how it's not for everybody. I'm sorry to say this is not a level 30 game. It's
Right.
not a game you can play in small stints. I mean, if you want to just take your gun and go in there and complete missions by just killing everybody, you can get through a mission in 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah,
depending on what
I
your
remember that one
objectives
taking
are.
a long time.
But yeah, if you want to do it right and sneak and hit the extra objectives, you could put over an hour into a single mission.
Yeah.
So depending on where you're at, you can save and quit and come back at a checkpoint and not lose too much progress. But I mean, I usually I'll start the game if I have time to kill. It's a weekend and I actually do have long strand of time, you jump into the game and you spend the first 15-ish or so minutes just doing your micromanaging.
Yeah.
Building your base, moving guys around, and then then you sneak around a base that you've been at 100 times for like an hour and a half just to get, sideswiped by some idiot or something.
Which was my gripe with the game, that it was the same areas over and over.
It takes some getting used to, but it does open up. There are other areas, they do open up. And I mean, honestly, you can go into one of your big areas and run from one side to the other and just keep going. Like you can get on the horse or something. Plus there's other things that mix it up, different weapons, different items. There's 4 different buddies that you can use that help switch up the game. So there's a lot to it. It's an absolutely fantastic game. It's just so polished and so good that I don't know. I could talk forever about this game. So just,
If
cut me
there
off.
was a Switch port, would you buy it and play it again?
Yeah, it would.
Okay.
Because I could go out and play it. I mean, the only thing that might put me off from a Switch port is the fact that when do I have an out? Like if I'm going out somewhere with my Switch, if
don't
I'm
have
home,
that hour.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
if I'm home, I'm just gonna play it on PC, and that's fine. If I go out somewhere, I don't really have an hour to play the Switch. I've got like 15 or 20 minutes to play it in small bursts, and I'm only gonna get from one side of the base to the other if I'm lucky.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I'd probably pick up a Switch
Tom, what
port.
have you been playing lately?
Oh man. Well,
everything.
yeah, that's kind of a problem. I'm actually there's a game on my radar now that I want to go get, but I won't because I've been in the midst of playing Fire Emblem. So I just hit the 11-hour mark, which I know isn't like huge because the game came out a week ago. I've also been playing Marvel, trying to wrap that up, Ultimate Alliance 3, and Madden. I do Madden every year,
Madden
so
guy.
I don't
I
know
feel like
why.
that's almost like a shameful I play Madden.
Oh, so if you like Madden, who cares?
It's actually I enjoy it because it's one of those. Oh man, I got work tomorrow. It's 9:00. I might not be able to get into Fire Emblem, so I know that a game of Madden will take me 35, maybe 40 minutes. So it's really nice going into a play session, knowing when this play session is going to end. So that's actually kind of nice. Which is also, and I'm working on the review for Fire Emblem that I'm hoping will be out. It's going to be out realistically next week. But it's a really difficult level 30 recommendation.
I was gonna ask because I've never played Fire Emblem. Is that a game that you can play in like small chunks of time, or is it not made for that kind of?
Depends on how you value your chunk of time,
Okay.
which is going to be then
Well, we're gaming, so we clearly don't.
directly related to the type of game you enjoy to play or you like playing. And so I can talk about this a little bit more depth now because it's not the short review that I'm trying to do, since I try and keep all the reviews under 6 minutes. There are moments in that game where you can arguably, much like Joe said for Metal Gear, do your preparation. Sometimes that preparation may take an hour before you get into a battle. So the breakdown of the game is that you're playing as a teacher in this school who has to instruct students, and there's some relationship type stuff going on where you can build rapport with them and get to know them. You get some of their backstory. You can also marry some of them too if you really want to.
The students.
Yeah.
Oh, Fire Emblem. So is that a large chunk of the game?
So it's a large chunk of the beginning of the game. I'm told in the second half of the game it really does open up and it becomes a little bit more battle oriented. And so the closest thing that I can compare it to, and it's been compared to a lot, has been the Persona games, where there's a lot of micromanagement of how you spend your time. So this game, for instance, might say, okay, you've progressed through a week. It's Saturday. You have the option to roam the castle grounds, to hold a lecture where you can then pad the stats of some of your students, which increases their weapon ability. So it's more effective on the battlefield. You can go into optional battles, which are kind of the side missions. Now, sometimes a character might ask you to, or sometimes they're just available so that you get XP. You can rest and do nothing, which regenerates a lot of the stats that your characters have. Some weapons that you have can regenerate through rest. But the Explore the Castle is really where you get an opportunity to go, you can have lunch with your students. You can do one-on-one training with some of the other professors. You can go fishing. You can cook. You can flirt with people. You can go garden. There's a lot of stuff, but you might only be able to do 4 of those
Some of it.
things.
Okay.
So you have to kind of manage your time there.
So
And
in
building
Fire
up.
Emblem, you're a level 30 gamer.
No,
But outside of Fire Emblem, you can't be one.
no, outside of Fire Emblem, I'm a real teacher. So this fantasy is actually strong, all things considered. So like that part of it's interesting, but it's also possible that, and this happened the other day. I had some time before I was going somewhere, and I was like, oh, I'll play Fire Emblem. I didn't even get to the fight. Like I had to stop like in the middle of a lecture. And the fights that I've done so far, like a quick one, an optional battle, maybe 15, 20 minutes. Some of the more story-based missions,
No longer.
35, 40 minutes. So like if you have an hour to put down and play, you can definitely get a good chunk of progress done. You might not do any of the tactical role-playing like strategy game. Like
You do like the.
you're going to
character
do some of the
development
micromanagement
and
stuff.
yeah.
So if you enjoy that, I think this is absolutely a game for you. And I think it's also a really good entry point for the series to start with. Like if you've never played a Fire Emblem game before,
good one to
I think
play.
this is a really good one to get into. It explains a lot of the systems up front and kind of eases you into it. My fear was that there's just going to be so much going on that it's not fun because it's a lot more micromanagement. But I've enjoyed what I've played
All that
tremendously.
micromanaging sounds scary to me. I'd be like, ah.
Right. And so I can see that being a put off, but having
Yeah.
spent,
The people love Fire Emblem though.
yeah,
People
it's,
that played it like.
and it's selling well. I'm hearing all
Yeah.
these reports. Oh, it sold better than, Fate. All right. Well, I don't know if that was a very high expectation to begin with. So look forward to that review. It'll be on the channel next week, I think, as I got to shoot and capture some footage. We're also going to give that game to Joe. Joe's also going to do a review of Fire Emblem from the perspective of someone who has never played Fire Emblem. And now that I've spouted a little bit about this game, he's probably like, I changed my mind.
Fire Emblem, the 2 reviews.
The 2 reviews instead of 2 houses. Cool. So I wanted to wrap up today. Yeah, there's 3 houses. We'll have Kevin review it as well
Nope,
as
perfect.
someone who's
Absolutely not.
heard of
Afraid
Fire
of-
Emblem.
and is afraid of
yes.
micromanaging.
I want to play Fire Emblem. I gotta finish Zelda.
Do it.
I will.
Disappointed.
Wanted to wrap up here with I wanted to call it a viewer question, but we don't have any viewers or listeners yet. So it's just I've called it a design question in our outline here, because it is inspired by something that came up during one of our live streams. So this question is coming from Kelly M, who was in the chat while we were playing Splatoon, and requested more coverage of Nintendo 64 games. And N64 games are really hard to get like gameplay footage of or do streams of because the hardware is expensive and I spent too much money on microphones to do this podcast.
But you sound beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. So the question for the group
Where's
is,
every penny?
what's your favorite Nintendo 64 game if we exclude Mario and Zelda titles?
So all Mario and Zelda titles, right?
All
Okay.
Mario. Like I
No,
would love to
just some
say
of them.
Mario Golf,
Some of them.
but I can't say that. So
Who's going first?
wait, because isn't there only one like mainline Mario game on 64?
Yeah.
Like it's Mario 64 and that's it.
Well, do you consider Paper Mario a mainline?
Okay, well I would call it a.
I would.
I mean, it's a
consider
Mario
it.
game,
It's
yes,
a
but I
core-
wouldn't say
oh,
it's.
yeah,
It's that's a good one though. I want that one to come back.
yeah. Hashtag remaster 1,000 Year Door. Throwing
Oh
it
my
out there.
god.
I did
I
trend on
want it.
Twitter.
Them.
I want it.
No.
I want it.
It's a
I
good
want it.
game.
It's a good game.
It was
Yeah,
alright.
and it would look really
Um,
pretty in HD.
Yeah,
It would look gorgeous. N64 game. Am I going first?
Sure.
Joe going first? All right,
You're going
me.
first.
Star Fox 64 was my number 1 last time, right? That's what I said. Still is. I love that game. And Jet Force Gemini.
Ah.
You said it. You're gonna say it anyway.
Yeah, I know. I'm
It's
gonna say it.
amazing.
I'm gonna say it.
All right, then I want to say 2. I'll say those
So
2.
you stole his.
Yeah.
I said.
you knew.
Oh wait, yeah, you said it last.
It's
time.
fine. I have my thumbs down too.
You have your thumbs down on Jet
Well,
Force Gemini?
No. Last
Like
last
what?
time you asked about the N64 games, I got a big thumbs up from both of you about one game and a big thumbs down about the other one.
Oh.
So high fives went all around when I said Jet Force Gemini because I didn't
Yes.
even expect anybody to have heard of that game.
No, I
don't
think
know
I was
why.
just.
That game.
That's
It
a
was
great
just
game.
floored, but it
I'll
really
only
was
say,
a
I'll only
great
say
game.
those 2 because I have a third one I want to say, but somebody else is probably gonna say it.
I'm probably not going to say it. Jet Force Gemini is one of the reasons why I bought the Rare Replay for Xbox because it's.
Oh, it's on there?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was on there.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to
I think
buy
they have
that.
everything, don't they? Right? Rare Replay, like everything.
They have.
I want that on the Switch. I'm wondering
Most
if
Oh,
of
that did make
it.
me think of another favorite game.
They don't have GoldenEye, which I did love, and that's on my list. GoldenEye,
I wonder if that's
because
a licensing thing.
absolutely,
Yeah.
because they have not been able to do
Yeah.
a legitimate remake of that game. in
No.
any way, shape, or
I
form.
wouldn't say it.
So GoldenEye's on my
I-
list. Same with Perfect Dark. We'll put those in the same category because they're both rare and they're both first-person shooters, and they worked really well in that system. And I just really loved doing the split-screen multiplayer that I kind of miss.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Halo did it for a long while. I don't know if the new Halos do, but I remember playing Halo 3 split-screen, even online multiplayer in college and after college, and that was tons of fun. So I'm going to throw back my GoldenEye ones. I also put Harvest Moon on this list. So back when Harvest Moon was
Just out of Quest 64.
was
I'm
good.
sorry.
Oh God. Why would
My
you
favorite game of
Why
ours.
would you do
My mind
that?
was just going through N64 games. I was like, oh, that game was horrible. And I bought
Right
it.
up there with O-Grade Tactics 64. Oh, well then see that was good. Why
Gosh.
didn't you recommend Quest 64 in your games? You're
horrible.
really upset that you
I
bought.
thought we were talking about Switch games, you said.
Oh, it could be any
Oh
game,
my
I guess, at
gosh.
this point.
Quest 64.
Quest 64 is pretty terrible.
Can we talk about Conker's Bad Fur Day? And
Oh.
how what a perfectly clever
This
game
was
that was.
amazing.
It
The
was just
multiplayer.
yeah. I mean, the Xbox version was kind of but like the multiplayer was incredible. It was so good. It was like one of the only shooters at that time because I was so young that I would play. But like the
Squirrel.
it was such a clever,
It was
well
funny.
done
Mhm.
game that
That
was
game was
fun to
amazing.
play. It was. I mean, there was poop humor, but I mean, I was young enough to find it funny
There's a
at
lot
the
of
time.
different adult humor
But
in
yeah,
that
there
game.
was.
Yeah.
But it was legitimately a fun. Like I still want to go back and replay that game, just not on the original.
All right, so
Xbox.
I'll lend you Rare Replay. It seems like we'll give that to you.
Yeah, really.
Didn't you start a game on that I told you to start because you never played it?
Was that
Banjo Kazooie.
your favorite 64 game?
That was the other one I was gonna say.
Okay, so I started it and I got through the tutorial and I
Got Fire Emblem.
gave up. No. So no, the tutorial just it moved a little slow. They're like, "Oh, jump on these stumps to get cogs." And like I kept jumping, but like I apparently needed the time to jump super perfect because if you like were off by a hair, you just missed the other stump and I'm like, this is really
Was it
frustrating.
teaching you how to play a platformer?
Yeah,
That's
I
it. So
haven't
you
played
don't
it
like
since I
platformers
was
is
a
the
teenager.
problem.
No, I like platformers a lot, and it came out at a time where 3D platformers were still not done very well. Like I
Yeah.
like 70% of the time they were awful.
Oh yeah, because the controls just weren't made for it back then. You couldn't be as precise.
Right, even in Mario 64, which I love, like
Ooh.
try and jump on a Goomba and tell me you're not like
Just
messing
fly
up
around it.
900 times.
I have this problem. What's going on?
I could look
Well,
for the
clearly
shadow.
you're better at
that's the
video
key.
games than we are. Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
But
So-
can everyone make fun of me? Also, I'm sorry to cut you off.
that's okay.
But can everyone make fun of me again for really, really enjoying Bomberman 64?
Why would I make fun of you
I
for
didn't make fun
Bomberman
of you for that,
64?
did I?
You
I never
both
played
hated
it.
on Bomberman 64 last time. I don't want to hear it. I love
we?
that
Did we
game.
hate
All
on
the
it?
customization.
I don't think we hated
remember
it.
Was there a story mode? Yeah, there was a story mode.
Oh well, yeah,
And
you
it was
you
great.
talked to it more than I did because I
I-
didn't play it.
I
well, then we're all
played-
gonna play Bomberman 64 because it was a great game.
I don't know. We
I
don't have
have
time.
I have it. It says somebody else's name on it because I bought it used from GameStop.
Oh, there you go.
The end.
No, I was a fan of the Bomberman series. I bought Bomberman when it launched on the Switch. Like I bought Zelda and Bomberman because
That Bomberman was a disappointment.
multiplayer has it's fun for what
Is
it
it?
is. Yeah, I mean, you get 4 people in there, and
Okay.
it's like Overcooked. There's just stuff going on
Yeah,
all
it
the
is.
time,
It's
and you put on
madness.
bots, and the story's not that great. But no, I had
Mm-hmm.
Bomberman for Super Nintendo, I think, and then eventually, I don't think I had 64, but I did have it for
It was
GameCube. I have
Good,
Bomberman
like, you're more than
Generations.
welcome to
at
come
home.
over and play it. I'll play it. I love that game. It was so much fun. It worked very well. I mean, other than the fact that you try to throw a bomb forward and you would throw it to the right, the same problem you have with Mario when you're trying to jump on a Goomba. But overall, there were a ton of customizations. It was a really genuinely good game. Let's play it. It was better than Bomberman Generations.
He's like, let's play it.
All right,
Next live stream.
Next
Wait,
live
wait,
stream will
wait,
be
we don't have
Bomberman.
equipment for that.
Joe will
I'll figure it
You'll
out.
figure it
I
out.
promise you. I'll
Okay.
figure it out.
generously donate the new HDMI 64 adapter
Oh yeah.
that came out for $150. Thank you, Joe, for
Why
buying
is
that.
it
And
Why is it that much?
technology,
Oh
man, it's
my
crazy.
gosh.
You don't want to know how much these mics cost.
No, I don't. You're right.
So much money, but so good. Cool. That's a good slew of games that hopefully we'll get a chance to. I don't know, maybe play in a live stream, like have a throwback night. That'd be really cool.
That would be
Yeah,
cool,
absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for watching. That's our show. I don't know what's coming up for Level 30 games other than our Fire Emblem reviews.
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing the Zelda review when it comes out.
If you check the latest blog, you'll know that my computer bit the dust, and so live streaming's been out of the question for a while. But we got some stuff in the kicker, and hopefully some more podcasts in the future. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching if you're on the video version. And if you're not, please come back and join us soon. We'll see you on the other side. Adios.
In the next level.
In the next level? Is that what it is? Oh, man, I messed it up. Okay,
Oh,
we're
man.
out
All
of
right,
here.
end it.
All right. Bye.